Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be this fun summery cocktail inspired nail set. So I used so many gel polishes for this design over here. I really wanted to pull in a bunch of different colors, and I figured showing them all in the beginning before I did the nail set like I usually do would have just been so long and boring to watch, because honestly, like, I'm using so many, and I probably went a little overboard and didn't have to use as many, but I really wanted to like use as much as I had because I can and I wanted to. So I figured I would just show the gel polishes as I was going through it. So the first time I showed it and the first time I used it on camera, I would just like show it off for a second, show you the brand, the color, etc. So I'm starting off by doing like these lighter pastel colors on all of the nails, and the pastel colors are basically going to be like the pastel version of the colored drink that I'm going to be doing on the cocktail. So you can see the first one is like a dusty red shade, then I did a lavender, a light orange, this one's a light pink, and then finishing off with the light blue. Funny enough, at the end I do actually end up doing like a matte top coat on all of these, and the three middle shades end up looking so similar to each other in the matte version for some reason. So the blue one actually ends up being quite the outlier in this set, because the rest of them with like the dusty red and like the purple, orange, and pink end up looking so similar to each other after doing the matte top coat, which I'm doing right now, that the blue ends up kind of just being really bright in comparison. But I think it just adds to the fun of it. I don't think it's a problem or anything like that. Maybe I would have put the blue in like a different positioning. I don't know. It's not like a huge like issue for me. I think it's fun, but maybe if I had known that the colors would look so similar, I might have chosen like slightly brighter colors, but I didn't know that I was going to do a matte top coat in the end anyway. So anyway, they look similar, but I still like how it came out. So I'm starting off over here. I matte top coated everything because I'm going to be doing hand painting, and I am painting with this like lighter gray color over here from Apres. It's super pigmented, and you can see I actually did it a few times, and I wanted to show that I actually tried a few times to get like the shape and size of the glass rim, which is what I'm doing over here for this first glass. It did actually take me a while to get the right shape and size. I kept doing it a bit smaller than I intended to, and I wanted to just keep that in there, and just to remind everybody that this video is super edited down. I mean, it's like 23 minutes long, as you can see here, a little bit over, and I had over an hour of footage. So by the time I finished editing it and speeding everything up, it did cut the video much shorter, but I just wanted to leave the reminder that sometimes things are not always perfect. As you can see here, I'm using these micro swabs to help clean up the rim, because these colors, this gel polish from Apres is so pigmented. Sometimes it is just hard to control because the color is just like, I don't know, it's just like it's a very bold color, and not bold in the sense that it's like dark, but it's like very, very richly pigmented, and sometimes it can just be hard to get the right density, the right thickness of the lines, and I did have to do a lot of cleanup with this set. I went in with those micro swabs a lot to clean up shapes, to clean up just larger deposits of gel polish that I didn't necessarily want there, and cleaned up a lot of the mistakes that I made, which I anticipated and knew that was going to likely be the situation, especially doing circles. I find circles with a brush like this, or ovals, or like rounded shapes, to be quite difficult for me to get. I always, as you can see here, you can see the top of the oval is much thicker. There's like more gel over there, and then as I spread it out, it gets thinner. So I was just using these micro swabs to help clean up the mess. Instead of trying to be super precise and trying to be a perfectionist with my application, I decided I would just clean up my work as I went, and that's something that gel polish really affords you to do, like gives you that opportunity to do, because it won't go anywhere until you cure it in the lamp. So you really have a lot of time to play with your design and work things out a little bit before you finally decide on what you're happy with and when you want to cure it. Of course, like if you were doing something like this with regular nail polish, then I guess the key would just be to take your time, be slow, don't try to rush anything, because if something turns out the way you don't like it and you have to take it off and redo it, that can sometimes be really frustrating. But I don't think that this is necessarily something that should be rushed. I think you should really just try to take your time with designs that you might struggle with, whether it's drawing circles or sometimes I struggle with doing straight lines. I think specifically I struggle with getting things centered on my nails as well. I think a big part of that and like a big contributor to that is the fact that I use these tapered nails. I used to do coffin nails because I would personally do coffin nails on my own nails, so I like that, and it just felt a little bit different to what I was seeing people do on YouTube. Most people were doing like stilettos or almond, but recently I started enjoying an almond shape or a stiletto shape on myself, so I kind of transferred into doing this the stiletto shape on my nail art as well while I'm doing these videos here on YouTube. And I noticed that because those designs are very tapered, because the coffin is also like a tapered square, and of course the almond and the stilettos are like a tapered oval, I find it so hard sometimes for me to like gauge where the center is or to draw straight lines, because the nail itself is not straight. Like the nail is straight, but like it has like a tapered edge to it, so of course it's not like straight lines like a square would be, or a rectangle like a long square. So I find that to sometimes be a bit of a challenge for me as well, sometimes drawing straight lines. So basically all of that to say that sometimes we try to rush ourselves through designs, or we get frustrated when we can't do the thing that we're trying to do on the first go. And here, I figured leaving in all of my slight mistakes or where I keep fixing things up. As you can see here, my line was not straight because I was following the edge of the nail, which is not straight, so I had to like reprogram my brain to not look at the shape of the nail and to try to do a straight line without getting distracted by the shape of the nail. But I think it's important to just not take things too personally when you're trying to do things for the first time. And that's like a huge note to myself. I am really mostly talking to myself while I'm doing this, because my like toxic trait is thinking that I'll be perfect and just amazing at something the first time I ever try it, and then getting really frustrated and upset with myself that I am not perfect at something when it's literally the first time trying something new. And I don't know, I guess maybe when I see other people try to do things or doing things that just look easy, I'm like, oh yeah, I could do that, or I can visualize myself doing it. I'm like, that should be no problem. And then in action, it's not as easy as it seems, and then I get upset with myself. But I think that we really have to give ourselves grace. And again, talking to myself, but to anyone out there who is struggling with nail art, especially hand-painted nail art, it's not something that I'm super great at, but I keep trying to do it more and more and more, because the only way to get better is to keep doing it. So just a reminder to go easy on yourself, give yourself grace, and as much as it can be difficult to not be able to do things perfectly the first time, I think it's really important to allow ourselves to do fun things and not stress about it not being perfect the first go around, and to allow ourselves to make mistakes and to learn from them and to do things better in the future. So that was my little rant while I was just drawing out these different shaped glasses for my nail set. And then I'm using this lighter gray color. This one is from Madame Glam. I don't know if it's a color that's still available. I got it in their advent calendar a few years ago. I don't know if it's still a permanent color in their collection, but I'm using it to create little ice cubes on these, in these little glasses over here. Not all of the cocktails that I'm making over here are going to get ice cubes, but I think 3. I think I did 3 or 4 of them out of the 5. I think 3 are gonna get little ice cubes. So I'm just doing it in this lighter gray color so that it stands out. I thought about doing it in white, but I felt like it would just be too stark and too obvious. And I felt like when ice is always frozen. That is what ice is. But I feel like when water is frozen, it kind of has like this like grayish, almost kind of like filmy look to it. And I thought gray would just be a softer look for this design. And now after I got the bases down and got the setup going, now we're going to do the fun stuff where I'm going to be filling in the cocktails. And so like I said in the beginning, each of the nails are going to be like a different color. So this is the red one, and I'm using this sparkly red polish. Moving on over here to the purple nail, going to use these 2 purple glitters. And I wanted to use glitters because it kind of felt like that would make it look like it was like bubbly. So like drinks that have fizz or just carbonation to them. So I thought it would just be fun and also just add some texture and intrigue to the design. For this nail over here with this purple nail, I had drawn ice cubes, as you can see, and I thought that the gel polish that I was using, this glitter over here, would be sheer enough that the ice cubes would peek through, but they didn't end up actually peeking through. The glitter actually covered them pretty well. So I'm just using the micro swab over here to make them more visible. And then with the other nails that do have ice cubes with them, I actually went around the ice cubes with the gel polish instead of going on top of it, because that was just actually easier than cleaning it up, because I felt like it kind of left it a little bit messy. But you know, just cleaning up the mistakes as I go. And I'm using the lighter color at the top of the drink over here and kind of blending it with the darker color. And I just felt like it kind of added like a bit of like nuance, where maybe like there's like just more like dense coloring at the bottom. I felt like when I was looking at like real photos of cocktails on Pinterest, just to get some inspiration for different shapes of different glasses and for different colors and stuff. And when there's a lot of like drink in a glass, it felt like there was a lot more density in the color towards the bottom of the glass, and it kind of like faded out towards the top, maybe because usually the ice sits at the bottom, and it kind of just like makes the color more like dense. I'm not really sure why that is. If someone can explain the science to me on why that works and why drinks felt like they were, you know, darker on the bottom and lighter to the top, like, is there like a reason for it scientifically? I would love to know. But that's basically what I was seeing when I was just looking up like real drinks and different like inspiration for this set. So I decided to just incorporate that into this nail set over here. So you can see here I'm doing the same thing with this orange one. I did the bottom part of the drink, well, more than half, but like the bottom part with the darker bright orange color, and then did the lighter glitter that was quite sheer over top of it, and also brought it a little bit towards the top, so it kind of looks like there's like fizz or bubbles sitting on the top of the glass. And I'm going to be doing the same thing again for this nail over here. This set did not, well, like I said, I had over an hour of footage. It did take a long time, but that was because I was curing in between each step, so that if I messed up or if I ruined something, I could take it off and redo it. And because lots of things were being layered, the different gel polishes, and then the glitters that were going on top, and after that we're going to do the embellishments for the drinks, and there's a lot of steps. So most of the time was actually just curing stuff in the lamp, and because I was working on all the nails at once, as opposed to like working on one nail and finishing it and then moving on, and then, you know, kind of like I was doing all the steps on all the nails in like at the same time basically. So while one nail was in the lamp, I was working on the next one. So it took a long time, especially because like it's a quite detailed set. It's not like I'm just throwing just some glitter on a nail and calling it a day. It's like each one was quite detailed in its design, but it wasn't difficult. The hardest part was just getting the size and shaping of the glasses, like the cups that I was using, to be the right size. As you saw on the first nail that I did, it actually took me like three or maybe 4 times to like actually get the shape and size of it right. So that was the most time consuming. But once I had the layout of the design and the outlines set up, it was really not complicated at all. It was just filling in the lines. It was like filling in a coloring book, just coloring in the lines and just adding some more detail to the designs. But it's like each step was like a very small step. So it's like first we did like the little ice cubes, so that had to like cure, and then I did like filling in the colors, so it was like just a little bit of color, and then it had to cure so that I could do the next color on top of it. And then when we get to the embellishments, it's like I did some like watermelons and pineapple, so it's like first I do the red and then I have to cure it, and then I do the white and then I have to cure it, and then the green to cure it. So it was just a lot of small steps that took a lot of time in between. But it was a really non-complicated set once you got the base down, and I think it's super fun and summery. So now moving on to the embellishments. Like I said, I wanted to add some fun detailing and garnishes to this drink set. So I'm pulling out all of these colors over here that I'm going to be using for a lot of the embellishments. A lot of them actually had like similar colors to them, because fruits and vegetables, you know, they're all kind of like in that same, well, I was gonna say like they're all in the same like rainbow family, but of course they're all in the same rainbow family. Like that's what fruits and vegetables are. So that wasn't the most like astute sentence and observation, but I wanted to do each of the embellishments with the colors, like do the same embellishments with the colors that I'm trying to say what I'm trying to say, and I know what I'm trying to say, but I'm not saying it properly. But basically over here I'm doing a watermelon, so it's got this red, green, black, and white colors over here. And then for another drink, it's going to be strawberries. So it's the same colors. So basically I'm just going to be doing like all of the embellishments that are the same colors. I'm working on those first and then going to move on so that I'm working in like the same color schemes. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So over here I did a cute little watermelon embellishment with some little mint leaves, and that was a cute little garnish. And over here I'm moving on to the strawberry like I mentioned. So just doing these small little embellishments. Like I said, it's like each step was just a very small step and then needed to cure. So that was really just the most time consuming thing, and I did a full cure between each of the steps, a full 60 seconds, mostly because I just didn't want to risk ruining something, especially for like this like strawberry over here. Like I had the color packed down, like the gel packed down pretty densely because I really wanted it to be like a nice bold color, and I just didn't want to risk anything not curing all the way and then getting messed up somewhere along the line. So it was just like a precaution to do full cures in between each of the layers. But just over here, I'm moving on to do some more mint leaves. And then as I finished this design, I decided I really didn't like how those mint leaves looked. So I was gonna first just like leave it. The biggest thing for me with these garnishes for the drinks was like figuring out where to put the garnishes, because as you can see, the cups are not full all the way. I didn't like fill them to the top. So it's like a mint leaf isn't just gonna be sitting there floating on the top of the drink. And it doesn't really sit on the rim the way a pineapple or a lemon slice would, because it's not on the rim. It would really be inside the drink. So that's where I am placing it right now. You can see I placed it further down, sitting on top of the pink, so that it actually looks like it's sitting on the drink itself. And afterwards, after doing all of the fruit and different garnishes, I do actually go in and redo the rims of all of the glasses as well, just so that anything that was sticking out, like with that leaf, that little mint leaf from the strawberry one, it was like sitting on top of the rim, which wouldn't actually be what was going on. It'd be inside the cup. So I do go afterwards and redo all of the rims of the glasses just so that they have a more, well, slightly realistic. Obviously, this is a very stylized, very hand-drawn, very cartoonish set of nails. There's not much realism going on over here, but I did want it to feel a little bit more realistic, as opposed to just having like a mint leaf floating on the outside of glass somehow magically. So I am throwing on a little pineapple over here, super easy, just a little yellow triangle and a tiny little bit of a green edge, just so you can see what it looks like. Otherwise it just kind of looks like a slice of cheese. So I felt like adding that would add some detail, and a cute little cherry just for fun. And now I'm moving on to this nail over here. I'm going to do a lemon slice. So I thought that I love purple and orange together. Not purple and orange, purple and yellow. Purple and orange is a nice combo too, but I'm specifically talking about purple and yellow. I think it's such a gorgeous combination, and I feel like it's such an underrated combination as well. So when I did this purple drink, I knew I wanted to add a little bit of a lemon wedge. I think the contrast of the colors together is just so fun, and this adorable little lemon wedge just adds so much brightness to it. But to add a little bit more to this set, because I wanted to add just the slightest hint of a little bit more, I'm adding these tiny little dark blue dots, and I figured these can be like little blueberries and like a blueberry cocktail with a little bit of a lemon wedge. It sounds delicious. It's making me think of like blueberry lemon coffee cake. Yum. Now I always manage to make myself hungry somehow with like all of these sets. I'm just like, it reminds me of food and I want to eat it, and now I want to drink that cocktail. That looks so good. So moving on, I think this is the last one I'm doing. Yeah, the blue one. So I'm just going to do a little lime wedge, same as I did with the lemon, and I'm also going to do an orange one as well. And I love this bright neon gel polish that I'm using from Betsy. It is actually called Lime, so that was like a great coincidence. And even though like limes are not super neon, I do feel like they're quite bright, and I thought that just this pop of like neon green was just really, really cool, and just added some fun interest to the design. And I actually realized only all the way at the end that the blue drink is the only one that doesn't have any glitter in it. All of the other drinks I made glittery to make it look like it was fizzy or had some carbonation, or maybe some like, I don't know, like fun sparkles or bubbles or something. And I realized that this was the only one that didn't have any glitter to it, but I didn't realize until all the way at the end. So if that's something that you noticed as well and it was bothering you, it's kind of bothering me now as I was editing and doing this voiceover now, but like at the same time, it's also not bothering me. I'm not sure, but just gonna let you know that if that was something that was bothering you or something that you didn't really necessarily think of and you were thinking about recreating this set, just note that it doesn't have any sparkles, and maybe if I had noticed beforehand, before I finished the whole thing, I would have added sparkles. So now I'm going to matte top coat everything, and I want to add some glitter to the nail. So like I said earlier, I'm going to redo all of the rims of the glasses, and I'm going to add a little bit of glitter as well onto the rims. So I'm going back in with the gel polish over here, redoing the rims so that it has a little bit more of a realistic look to it, so that it makes the drinks look a little bit more 3D. And then before curing, I'm pouring this glitter over it, and that just gives it that extra little touch of maybe like sugar or salt that people put on cocktail rims. And I thought it just added the tiniest bit of fun and glitter and shimmer to the nail, especially because I am going to keep the background of these nails matte. So the background of the nails are going to be matte, but the drinks are going to be top coated with a shiny top coat. And I figured adding this little textured 3D element of glitter was just such a fun addition, especially because it just works so well with the cocktails, like salt or sugar on the rim of a glass. It fit the whole thing and it finalized the whole look. I think it really brought everything together, really just brought this set to the next level. And it was great for this poor blue nail over here that didn't have any glitter. So now at least it has a little bit of glitter, despite the fact that the rest of it does not. At least it has just the tiniest hint of shimmer. So now I'm going to top coat just the cocktails themselves with a shiny top coat, leaving the background matte. So I'm just using a smaller little brush over here to get into the nooks and crannies. And it has like a very like fine edge, and I just placed the top coat onto a palette because I didn't want to risk like getting any glitter or anything, because there is that glitter on the rim of the nails or on the rim of the glasses. I didn't want to risk getting any of that into my top coat, so I'm just going around it and just being slightly detailed and filling in the drinks over here with the shiny top coat, and it really just brings everything to life. The glitter comes to life, everything just feels a little bit shiny and just more dramatic, and I think with the contrast of the matte background, I think it really just makes them pop. So I'm just going to finish that up over here. And while I'm doing that, it's so funny, I did this whole video on cocktails, I'm talking about these things, and I was looking up at inspiration on Pinterest and stuff, and I'm like not even someone who drinks cocktails a lot. Like I love the idea of cocktails, and I feel like I would if the situation called for it, but I've never been in a situation where I was just like, I want cocktails. Like, I don't know, I love the concept of it, but I haven't really had many cocktails of my own. But while I'm finishing this off, you can let me know in the comments which of these nails was your favorite with the whole design, and also if you are someone who drinks cocktails or at least knows how to make cocktails or drinks them on at least a relatively frequent basis, or not even, do you have a favorite cocktail that you drink? Because I think my only like real cocktails that I've had are like the classic pina colada and mojitos. I don't know if I've ever gone, well, I've had an Apres spritz, but like, is that a cocktail? Like, does that count as a cocktail? I'm not really sure, but I've never had anything fancy like what I'm doing on my nails over here. Like, these nails are definitely fancier than me. I've never had an embellished cocktail like this. Always loved the concept of it and the idea of it, and always was just like, oh, we should go and do that to, I don't know, friends, family, whatever, and just never actually did. But let me know which one of these was your favorite. Let me know your favorite cocktail in the comments down below if you have one. Maybe I should try something. I mean, it's still summer for a little while yet. Maybe I should celebrate this summer and get myself a real cocktail of some sort. That sounds like a lot of fun. But anyway, here is the final set. I figured I would turn on the flash while I was doing this like final show, just so that you can see that like it really does shimmer and glitter, and because it's in such a small area, you don't really see it as much. So I figured I would just turn on the flash a little bit so you can get the full detailing. Let me know your thoughts on the set down below, and I'll see you in my next